In the very beginning, God made a wonderful garden. It was called the Garden of Eden. Tall, strong trees grew everywhere with leaves of every shade of green. Brightly colored flowers bloomed, red, yellow, blue, making the air smell sweet and lovely. Clear, sparkling rivers flowed gently through the garden, their water cool and fresh. Everything in this garden was just right. There were no thorns on the roses and no weeds among the flowers. It was a place of endless beauty and peace, a special home made by God. Living in this perfect garden was a man named Adam. God had made Adam from the dust of the ground and breathed life into him. Adam was the first man and he was very special to God. He took care of the garden, naming all the animals, but Adam was all alone. So God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." While Adam was sleeping, God took one of his ribs and made a woman from it. Her name was Eve. She became Adam's friend and companion. Adam and Eve lived happily in the Garden of Eden. They had everything they could ever need. The trees were full of delicious fruits for them to eat whenever they were hungry. They spent their days playing with friendly animals and walking with God in the cool of the evening. In the middle of the beautiful garden, God had planted two very special trees. One was called the Tree of Life. Its fruit gave everlasting life to whoever ate it. The other was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God said, "You may eat from any tree in the garden. All of this is for you to enjoy. But you must not eat the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat from that tree, you will surely die." Adam and Eve understood and promised to obey. For a long time they lived happily, following God's command. However, there was someone else in the garden, a serpent, more clever and cunning than any other animal. The serpent saw how happy Adam and Eve were, and he wanted to spoil their perfect life. One day, when Eve was near the forbidden tree, the serpent slithered up to her. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" the serpent asked in a smooth, tricky voice. "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God said we must not eat from the tree in the middle, or we will die." "You will not surely die," the serpent lied. "God knows that when you eat it, you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Eve looked at the tree. The fruit looked so good to eat, beautiful to look at, and the serpent said it would make her wise. So Eve made a sad choice. She reached out her hand and picked the fruit from the forbidden tree, and she took a bite. It was a terrible mistake. After she ate it, she gave some to Adam. He could have said no, but he did not. He ate the fruit too. In that moment, everything changed for them. They had broken the one rule God had given them. Their eyes were opened, but not in a good way. For the first time, they felt ashamed and afraid. They quickly gathered fig leaves and sewed them together to make coverings for themselves. When they heard God walking in the garden, they didn't run to meet him. Instead, they hid among the trees. God called out, "Where are you?" He knew what had happened and asked if they had eaten from the forbidden tree. Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent. It was a sad moment filled with excuses where no one took responsibility. Because they disobeyed, there were consequences. The serpent was cursed, Eve would have pain in childbirth, and Adam would toil hard to grow food from cursed ground. God made clothes for them, showing his care even in their disobedience. Then he sent them out of the garden. He placed mighty angels and a flaming sword to guard the tree of life, preventing them from living forever in their broken state. The story of Adam and Eve teaches us what happens when we choose to disobey God and go our own way. Trust and obedience lead to life and happiness, while disobedience leads to sadness, separation, and hardship. But the story also shows that even when we make mistakes, God still cares for us and has a plan for rescue. It is a story about paradise lost, but also the beginning of God's amazing love and his promise of rescue.